Hello, this is Ben from the Warmasters, and today I'll be showing all of you guys how to paint Alpha Legion, armor, skin, cloth, all that, by using this obliterator from the Chaos Space Marine starter set. So yeah, it's got a lot of flesh around here, and sort of this area, mainly on the back, and down his legs a lot as well. So later on we'll get to that. And all those armor panels, yeah, those armor panels are going to be a nice Acadian green. But before we get anywhere near that, we're going to start off with a wash of null oil on the miniature. So grab a relatively large brush, not massive because this one is about the same size as this, which is this size. It's only about centimetre and a half in length and more like 4 millimeters in diameter, so it's not about that size. But yeah. Also, cool tip for anyone out here who's having troubles with their washers always falling over, make one of these out of any bits of sprue you have. It's a massive lifesaver, trust me. So yeah, I get my null oil. I should move that over to here. Anyway, right, so yeah, got my null oil. Let's get that out. Stay up in there. Yeah, I've also got a spare brush cover that I use to hold the pot open all the time. Now, for anyone who gets rid of their brush covers, why are you doing that? It's a massive lifesaver to keep those, well, brushed over to be precise, but still. And it saves a lot of time, a lot of money, just by keeping those. So yeah, like I said, step one, null oil. So we're going to go all over the model, as much in as we can. You don't want too much on your brush. Also start pulling like there, and just get everywhere. I want it everywhere, but not everywhere. Let's cover everything, not to like drench it in this, even though it's how we do. Yeah, let's cover as much of the model as you wish. If you want to put loads on absolutely cake model in it, then that's up to you. And have fun trying to clear that mess up afterwards, but yeah. Simply just go for the entire model with this non-oil. Even the cloak, well, don't really need to go over the cloak or any other bits, but most of the metal, like armour panels, at least. Any metal, any armour panels, any cables as well. Just so get a bit more detail out of it. And it stands out a little more, just from one paint. Also, one annoying thing about obliterators and their base size is because they have a 50mm base, it won't fit in their small brush handle, like this one. Because the highest this fits is 40mm. So it'll easily fit something like the Master of Possession. Fits his base perfectly fine, and he will come up in a painting video very soon. It fits his base perfectly fine. And comes to this guy's got a 50mm base instead of 40mm. And it's just really annoying for something like that. Yeah, it's very awkward. So yeah, I'm going to keep brushing, keep washing, whatever. And usually I'll leave my thing for about 30 minutes to dry. 30 minutes to an hour to dry, depending on how much wash I put on. So yeah. Once I've finished this, I'll come back to everyone and continue with the next step, which is Acadian green over any of the armour panels. Oh god, that's not water. Right, yeah. I'll come back to you guys in a sec and continue with the next step. Okay, so a little bit later, and the null has now dried. And the next step I'm going to do is go over the armour panelling with some Acadian green contrast paint. Now as you can see, I've already put it in my anti-spill thing, my wash frame I suppose. I'll open it without spilling it everywhere. That's the whole point of the frame. Right. Like that. Like that. Yeah, right. So with this contrast, you don't want to put too much on, because if you do, it starts like layering over it a lot. And also, if you go over the same point twice, it has the same effect where it will layer up a lot, so you just want to sort of go over it once, leave it, then just once again over. And I'm going to slowly going over the model, not putting too much on, because it would be very dark. Just want it to be a nice reflective Alpha Legion green, or sea green. You don't have to be too careful in this step either. Just don't. It's just best not to make too much of a mess, 'cause it saves time later on. But right at the very end, we will clear up any mistakes with some lead belcher. And if there's an entire armor panel that's completely screwed up, then just go over it with lead belcher, and then with the Kelly and green once again. Doesn't matter too much about the non-oil. It's just a slight darkener for some points. Okay, so there's one panel done. You can already see that's looking relatively reflective. That's the general idea I'm going for with this colour scheme. Yeah. So, okay, yeah, I'll come back to you guys once I've gone over all the other panels, such as down here, around here, and even on his face as well, around there. Like that. Yeah, okay. See you guys in a bit. Okay, so we've finished the Achillean green for the Alpha Legion armor panel, and got a nice reflective sea green colour on all of the panels, all the bits of armour around the model. This camera does not do it justice, just going to say. It looks way better in person. But yeah, like I said, remember for that, don't layer up too much, else it can sort of ruin the model. I can see the brush strokes, but yeah. The next step, I'm going to do the black points using Abaddon Black. So areas such as tubing, so for example, around in there, a little face bit for this guy, and these tubes back here as well. Do them black too. Now another option you could do, if you wanted to, is have the demon flesh as black. So paint all the skin on this guy black, but I'm going to go for grey, seeing as that's the sort of more common Alpha Legion skin tone. Yeah, I'll get back to you guys in a second once I've finished all of these black areas. Okay. See you in a sec. Okay, so now that the Abaddon Black's finished, we're going to, or try even, we're going to come over with some Storm Vermin fur, just to highlight the black bits, and a base for the flesh as well. Just saves a bit of time instead of going all for the black and then all for the grey. Yeah. Yeah. And we'll start highlighting the black first. You just want to look for the most raised edges. Drop it along there. Very watery. Dry out a little bit and go a new bit. There you go. It's a bit thin cut. Yeah, just going over any sharp edges, mainly on the corners of models. For example, along all these bits here, and then for these bits, if you look for the section where there's where there would be bits of metal showing through, like here, if you just go around those as best as possible. I just don't have to be too precise with it, because you can come back later with the silver and just go over it. So yeah, I'll get back to you guys in a second once I've finished all of this. See you in a bit. Okay, so after using storm foam and fur, the next step for the black is to highlight with dawnstone. So give it a little shake, pop your pot open, and then a tiny bit of brush, don't too much, and then wipe off on your palette until you have enough that it's not a ridiculous amount, but also so it's not like nothing. And then once again with the black, you just highlight all the edges, but mainly in the corners now. You just thicken it up a little bit more. So focusing mainly on the corners, just to get a bit more of a pop compared to the rest of the model. Also on the tops of any spikes on black areas, you want to give them a bit of a dab as well, just so they stand out a bit more. A little over here as well, only on the corners, and that'll be silver later on the top there, so don't worry about that. And then I'll usually leave these bits around on the tubing because they stand out enough as it is, at least for my preferability, but that's really up to you whether or not you want to do that. Yeah. I just want any tubing as well. Well, it's personal preference, but yeah. Okay. Now that step's done, we're going to move on to using the next paint, which is Stratum Grey, to highlight those areas. We're usually going to want to wait a bit, but I'm just going to go straight in because why not? Right? I love GW paints because they dry super quickly, so yeah, focusing only on the very corners now with all the darker points. The corners obviously sharpest point there is on anything. Usually the corners or tips, so for example on sword blades, if you highlight those in a similar way to this, then you're going to want them to be really bright at the end, so it stands out a lot more and looks a bit more impressive. Okay, let those paints dry for a bit, and we'll come back with you for the next step. Okay, so the paints have dried now, and the next step is to use Nuln Oil on all of the grey points of flesh, which I believe I failed to mention earlier, but I painted all of these flesh bits, so his legs, his back, and those guns, whatever, on his hands as well, on the underside of his hands. He's got these bits of skin under there, so yeah. The next step is to wash over with Nuln Oil. As you can see, I'm using my paint frame again, paint stand, paint support, whatever, just to make sure it doesn't fall over, or it's less likely to fall over at least, because that's incredibly annoying if that happens. I can't remember who I saw that had posted that, but if I do find it, I will mention it in the description below, which most of you should check out, I believe. There'll be a bit of information about sort of the other videos we're going to post, or plans we have for the future, and yeah, it's obviously our first video, so yeah. But if there's anyone out there who does see this and they want to start posting stuff so we can see it and then potentially mention it in videos, give you guys shouts. Yeah, so as I was saying earlier, my video cut out apologies. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, you don't want to, if there's anyone who wishes to have us sort of review their minis and stuff on our channel, then we'll happily do that. If you just post on Instagram, hashtag warmasters painting. We will once every 2 weeks or once every week, we'll have a look at who's uploaded and we'll shout out the channels and we'll vote like 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 our favourite ones. So yeah, I'm going to get back to you guys once I've finished with the null oil on this guy's skin, and yeah, catch you guys in a sec. Okay, so for the next part of the video we need to highlight as much of the muscles and flesh and stuff as possible. When I say highlight, I don't mean go on the sharpest points. I mean go onto the more raised areas. Since it's flesh, it's like skin, it's a bit different to actual like metal and harder surface. So we're going to do this with some dawnstone. Just going to get a tiny bit of my brush and paint now. The idea is to get more raised areas, and if possible leave some gaps to make it look a bit more natural. If there's any like deliberate creases or slightly higher or raised bits, then leave them out and make them stand out more. So around here there's a slight shading, just making sure I stay away from that, making it stand out a bit more. Then obviously in slightly more raised bits I will go on to the higher points. Something like this. So you can still see reasonable amounts of detail whilst not taking up too much space on the actual model. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to finish that step, finish this shade of dawnstone, and I'll get back to you guys in a second. Okay, so now that the dawnstone is dried, the next step is to get your menstruation grey again and highlight all the flesh. And once again, like last time, you don't want to go for the sharpest points necessarily, you just want to go for the more raised areas, because flesh and cloth is very different to armour panelling and stuff. For example, down here there's a little crack there, either side of that. So I'll follow it down to the more raised bit. Over here. You only want to go for the highest areas really. Also around the head of this guy. He's got this little teeth around his face. So you want to highlight all of the bits that stick out. All of the most raised areas. Something like that. So you can clearly see which areas are highlighted, but it doesn't make a massive effect. It doesn't make it like completely washed out and paled out just from doing this one step. For example, around the back. Now on points like here, you are going to want to go for slightly more raised areas. More slimmer areas. Just so get them to stand out a lot more. Realistically, the The more raised, slimmer, sharper edges will catch the light a lot more. Plus it makes the model pop a little bit. It brings out all the detail. Just doing 1 or 2 simple steps. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to finish up with this paint. I'm going to get back to you guys in a second with the next paint, or the next colour. Okay, so the next colour we're going to move on to is the red tones. So any of the cloth or areas sort of around here, any of the eyes or lenses, and even the plasma bit up here. So we're going to start off with some corn red over to base all of the red areas on the model. Like I said, that's the lenses, the eyes and stuff. So I'm going to keep it fairly controlled, just so it saves a bit of time later. But if you do make a mistake, you can easily clear it up with some lead belcher later on, which is what we undercoated the model with. So just getting as much detail as you wish. Oh, iron is really awkward. But yeah, I've got it good. Okay. And the cloth as well. Now you notice that I'm using mainly the same brush for this entire thing. It's because the brush I'm using is relatively good for detail, and also it's big enough for doing larger areas. Just being careful around areas where it might touch onto other parts. Make sure that you don't cross-contaminate. Well, not cross-contaminate, but cover the other parts. So yeah, I'm going to finish with this colour, and I'll get back to you guys once I finish the step. Okay, so now that the corn red is dried, the next step is to use some Agrex Earth shade on all the cloth areas, the cloth and the plasma. Since the lens doesn't particularly require it, or the eye doesn't particularly require it, this is personal preference. If you want to do it on your eye parts, then that's up to you. I personally like to leave those and just continue with a Mephiston red or something over the top. Just making sure that you don't get on too much of the surrounding surfaces either. Just want it to be like just enough that brings out that detail a little more. And I can understand why you'd be a bit confused as to why I'd use a wash on a plasma weapon, but like I said, it's just so that the plasma coils stand out a lot more, as opposed to just kind of being there. So that's all the Agrex Earth shade done for the red. So I'll catch you guys in a second once that's all dried, which will take about an hour roughly. So yeah, see you guys in a second. Okay, so the next step, now that Agrex Earth shade has dried, is to pull out your corn red again and just go over all the areas you went over, apart from the most shaded and lowered areas. So you want to avoid right in the corner there, but go over everything else. If there's any slight creases in the fabric as well, like here, just leave that out too. Really want to always leave out the most shaded and deepest, furthest out of reach points. And also, I think to watch out for when using washes is sometimes you get these little white pools, as seen there and always around here, which happens when you use too much of a wash. So you don't want to put too much on, else you get, well, white spots on the miniature, and I tend to cover that up just by going over it, sort of making it blend with other parts, which obviously contradicts my previous thing about don't go in the most recessed areas, but it looks better than having a little white splodge on your model. So yeah, that's what you do with the cloth. And now for the plasma up here, you want to be really careful and find the sharpest point on your brush, or find a sharper brush. You just want to go with each of the most raised areas once again. Another option to this is to dry brush this part, because that's a certified way to get reasonable detail reasonably quick. Fun fact about dry brushing is something that I never actually realised was a technique quite. And I used it for my first ever model, which was some Tomb Kings from Warhammer Fantasy. I got a little pack of 5 for about 5 or 10 quid. Probably about 5, because cultists are about 6 quid. And yeah. Oops. Yeah. Something like that. Just double checking over, see if there's any areas that I've missed. Something I always do, I always double check. I mean, there will usually be some areas that I've missed, such as oh yeah, there's a panel that I missed out. That's fine. There's a panel that I've missed out here for the Kelly and green, which I will get to that right at the end and clear that up. But yeah, you let the red dry for a second and come back to you guys in a second. Okay, so now that the corn red is finished, you want to get some Mephiston red to highlight these areas. Just a tiny bit. You don't want to make it too much of a sharp highlight, because also it just won't help for the later stage of highlighting, which, trust me, there's a lot more to come, at least for the reds. So yeah, we have the most raised areas. Similarly to previous step, we have the more raised areas, but also any areas that aren't as much in the shade. But if you're sort of leading down to the shade, you want to have it fade out a little bit. So for example, you could have it here. I can take a little paint on the brush. Apologies if the hand constantly going over the camera. Yeah. Easily get it on the eye. What I tend to do with eyes is to have the colour focusing towards one point. So for example, that's a good example in this model. Yeah, if you look at 3 eyes there, actually that's a bad example, sorry. If you look there, the highest point, or the most highlighted point on the eye is more towards the right, and I've then put the pupil of the eye on the right side. Make it stand out a little bit more. Here's another example. This guy's shoulder pad. It's highlighted more towards where I'm going to put the pupil of the eye. So, doing that. Focusing onto one point. And for the plasma coils, you want to Do a similar thing to previous step where you just go for the more raised bits, but do it slightly higher up the side. For example, the previous red had done about there. So this one doing it starting about here, then like flicking up. And going all the way across the top. And then on the other side, doing like this. Once you're starting at halfway up. Yeah. Just makes it sort of, adds a slight glow effect to it. And also it brings it out a lot more, makes it stand out a lot more. So yeah, I'll finish it with the Mephisto red, and I'll come back to you guys in a sec, and I'll get the next colour sorted. Okay, so the next step is to add a final highlight to all the cloth with Wild Rider red, and then add an extra layer to all the other lighter areas, such as the lenses and the eyes. So, and also, just going to point out, in a similar way that I do the eyes, like demon eyes, whatever, I do the same to the lenses. I have them like lighter towards the front. So, for example, they start out as corn red at the back, and they get much lighter near the front. So that's a bit of a bad example, but it goes. So if we use this, there we go. Yeah, it's a bit better. So you can see it's much darker at the back and much lighter towards the front of the lens. So yeah, anyway, Mike's painting this guy, yeah. That's the final highlight for any of the cloths. You want to go for only the most raised areas. Have them fade out a little bit onto flatter areas if it's something like this. Maybe you can go across them a little bit as well. Okay, that was terrible actually. But yeah, once again with the eye, just keeping it so it's more concentrated towards the point that you want the eye to face. And with the lenses, slight highlights in there. Just with the plasma coil, you want to start about 3/4 of the way up on the side. So something like that. Okay, so I'm going to come back to you guys in a second once I've finished with this colour. So now that the orange is dried, I'm going to move on to the next step, which is to highlight the lenses and eyes and the plasma in this guy with some flush gaze yellow. So just pop it open, give it a little shake as always, a tiny bit on the brush, and then away we go. So with the eyes, put the eyes, not the lenses. Once again, you want to focus more towards one point. Something like that. With these guys, with the lenses, you want to face it more towards the front of the lens. The plasma, want to focus a lot more towards the top of the section. So basically in the top, like 1/6 of it. Too much on my brush. Hair on my brush. Get off. Right. Continuing with this. Some of the bits near the top. And all the way across the top. So. Yeah. Okay, so that's now finished for that step. I'm going to come back to you guys with the final step for the resin lenses in a second. Okay, so the next and final step for painting our lenses and other areas such as is to use white scar. Use this as a very thin highlight or fine highlight even. One that's only on the very sharp edges and corners of the model, or of the highlighted points. So right in the corner of that. And also, for lenses, you want it to be a dot right at the front. Like that. And for up here, it's just dots along the corner of plasma coil. Something like that. So it stands out much more and brings out corners a lot. Okay, that's the final bit done for the lenses, eyes and plasma coils. So yeah. The next step to do is to finish off the eye with some Abaddon black. So just grabbing this, and turn it on your brush. Have a fine point on your brush as well. And then just literally a single line down. You've got your eye. Come on with a second now, because it's very thin. So yeah, that's that layer finished, and there's that colour finished. And the next thing we need to do is paint all the bone areas, such as the teeth around this bit here and all around the head, and down here, teeth and toes, any horns, any sort of bony protrusions, and any skulls on the model as well. So just like that. Yeah. I'll catch you guys in a second for that part. Okay, so as I stated earlier, we're going to move on to the bone colours. I'm going to start off with a base coat of Sundry Dust. Put a little bit of a shake, tiny bit on your brush, and then start painting. you want to go all over any of the areas that you want to bone, being careful of any areas such as the Achillean green here, where if you make a mistake it's going to be very awkward to clean up, whereas around his face it's still not idealist ways, but it's a bit less problem than having to paint, then wash, then paint again, which is very time consuming. Yeah. All I do with this is that it's up to more or less tabletop standard. It looks presentable on tabletop. For example, in videos you won't see full detail, which isn't too much of a problem. So just looking for every bit of bone detail that you can find, just picking out for any like sort of growths or whatever. Because on chaos there's a lot of just teeth and bits everywhere, like here. It's just teeth sticking out his armour. Little bony spikes. Little bony spikes on this guy's arse as well. On his backside. Yeah. I'm going to finish up with this colour and get back to you guys once that's done. Alright, so now that the Xandri dust has died, the next step is to use Ivorex Earthshade and wash all of the bone areas, or at least as many as you can. Now with this, you need to be very careful and not get any on the Achillean green armour, because it's just incredibly awkward to fix up. So you're going to want a smaller brush for this, such as I'm using, which is sort of medium basing to fine detail, sort of midpoint between those. Yeah, just all the little details. As just many as you can without potentially risking ruining any other parts of the model. Being super careful once you get close to the armour. And any other bits, whereas if it's like just bone swap here, just go crazy as you want really. But yeah, remember with washes not to layer it up too much, else it pulls a lot. And you get those little white splotches from earlier, like with the red cloak. Also, with some areas, if you let it pull, it'll just look dreadful. The safe way to put it is to sort of considerate wash, but not like ridiculous amounts, so else you just destroy the model basically. So yeah, I believe that's most of the bony areas on the model. And I'm going to let this dry, which take about 30 minutes to an hour usually. And yeah, I'll catch you guys back once I finish that. Okay, so now that Ivorex Earthshade has dried, you can see it's sort of darkened each of the bone areas a tiny bit. Not by too much, but added some sort of shade to it. we're going to come back to sundry dust and go over all those areas again, avoiding the most deepest parts and furthest back parts, so as to easily create the shaded effect. So, for example, down here, cover a lot of the model, but leave the bits that are furthest up. Once you're on this side, leave the bits that are further up. Also with skulls, you need to remember that there, more or less, about there, is the temple. So there's going to be a dip there, so always keep that bit dark. And just above the jawline bit there. Make sure that when you do skulls as well, you have a gap between around the eye socket and the forehead of the skulls. Because once again, there's naturally a gap there. And always look out for any areas that you might have missed with the bone in previous steps. But hopefully that doesn't happen, it saves you a bit of time. But yeah, always looking out for your previously painted bits as well. There's been plenty of times where I've missed tiny bits of teeth and stuff. So yeah. Now I'm going to finish up with this colour off camera and then catch you guys in a second. Okay, so the next and final step for all of the bone areas is to use a shabty bone on any of the areas that you've painted over the sundry dust. So, oops. Give it a little shake, get the bony brush, and then finding any points, and you want it to be mainly concentrated towards the tips. There it is. Like that. Makes them stand out more and look sharper as well. Also adds a little more detail to any of the areas, just adding a slight highlight to everything. Now for those of you out there who do have another paint called Screaming Skull, I recommend you use that upon the very, very ends of the bone parts to add a tiny bit more detail to them. But currently I don't own any of that paint, so I'll be picking some up very soon, as soon as possible. But yeah, being very careful around areas such as around the face, because there's a lot of other detail there which you don't really want to mess up. If you're painting one of the new Space Marines and they have the shoulder pad with all the skull on, that's going to be very interesting for you because it's a very annoying process. If you go in full detail for it, it's annoying, but it looks pretty good once you've done it. Okay, so I'm going to finish up with this paint. I'll catch you guys in a second and we'll move on to the next colour. Alright, so now that the usurpative bone is finished, we are going to move on to the bronze parts on the model, which I don't tend to do bronze parts in my Alpha Legion, just because I prefer the silver, grey and sort of greenish tones, but for things like melter guns and heavy flamers, I tend to paint them sort of more brassy colour, naturally. So we're going to start off basing with some Balthasar gold. It's just going to lay down a nice little layer, just to then put smaller stuff on over the top. Yeah. So you don't have to be particularly careful. Just saves time if you avoid the trim areas, depending on which melter gun you've got, because there's loads of different melter gun variants. If you've got a normal Space Marine one, then obviously you don't have to worry about that as much, having trims on it, because that's not usually a thing. But with Chaos, there's the Raptor one's got trim, the new Chaos Space Marine one actually. Somebody posting a video about the new Chaos Marine box set at some point, probably a little bit after this one, probably tomorrow. But yeah, that's got an interesting one as well, because that's from Horus Heresy idea. Yeah. To be fair, I'm not sure how much else in the model I want to paint with that colour, so I'm going to leave it there, let it dry for a second, then come back to you guys. Also in a second. Okay, so the next step for the brassy coppery areas is to go over it with some Agrax Earth shade once again. I'm using this paint. I don't know, it's just I find it very useful for a lot of stuff. I used it for washing my composer, well, my world eaters stuff, but yeah, you're going to want a smallish brush for this so you don't get too much detail on other parts, too much wash on other parts, or any wash preferably. Yeah, like I said earlier, is if you want to paint more bits on your model brass than I have done, then that's really up to you. Just this personal preference. If you want to paint, let's say his fingers on his fist, one of the trims around there, one of these bits here, it's really up to you. But I've left it as just the melter gun just because personal preference. But yeah, I'm going to let that dry for 20-30 minutes. Probably a bit longer, but 30 minutes is about right. I'll catch you guys back in 30 minutes for me. Okay, so now that the Agrax Earthshade wash has dried, we're going to come back again with some Balthasar gold and go over all of the brass except from the shader bits in the middle and around the edges near the trim. Now, since it's only a small area, this entire section has been filmed. But going over it again just makes it that little more shiny and reflective. Also, if there's any bits that you've possibly missed, a chance to fix them a little bit. Yeah, because it's only a small area, it's kind of done. It took what, like 30 seconds? Not even that really. But it's because I'm using such a small area. If you're doing a larger area, for example, on a World Eaters model, where there's a lot more brass and stuff, like this dude, it's going to take a bloody long time. I'll look at the tendrils and everything. It's took me ages to paint, but I'm happy that I have. But yeah, there's that done, and then we'll come back in a second and highlight that colour. Okay, so the next and final step for the brass area is to use Sycorax bronze, or Sycorax bronze, but I'm pretty sure it's Sycorax, and highlight any of the areas on the brass. So for example, the gaps between the bits and the melter guns. Just stir that a little bit actually. The things with some of the GW paints is they can sort of taller bit at the bottom if you don't use them. So you can see there, sort of orange at the bottom, the rest is just that. So stir up a little bit, get it to blend up, mix, whatever. And usually it'll turn out a little better. Yeah. It's now that's stirred and I've absolutely layered this cocktail stick, toothpick depending on where you're from. Yeah. A lot of gunk on there now, but it's much better colour than it was previously. Either way, I'm going to now highlight the points on the melting guns. Literally just go on there. Very carefully, you don't want to get any like in the actual gap itself. You want to be around the edge. You'll see it stands out a little bit more. Yeah. And if you want to, you can go on the underside of it as well. Usually the melter on its side on like this. Well, in this the melter is on its side. Usually the gaps are on the side of the melter guns instead of on the top and on the bottom. Yeah. Now that's finished, we're going to move on to one of the final stages of painting this model. See you guys in a second. Okay, so for the next and final step, we want to get some lead belcher and just go over all of the trim on the model and any areas that are lead belcher already. Now this can be a bit of an awkward task. You want a relatively small brush as well, fine brush, but you want to avoid any areas around rivets unless it's something like this where you've put loads of Italian green on it. You're sort of loosening up any areas that are going slightly messy as well. Sort of down here where the Italian green's gone over a little bit, and on here as well. And you want to go around most of the trim area up here too. Just I think make time for the final step. Okay, so that was my video on how to paint Alpha Legion armour, flesh, plasma, other stuff like that. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, then please leave a like down below. If not, then leave a like anyway. It helps considering our channel's just starting out. Any form of sharing or anything would be very useful as well. But if you really don't want it, that's fine. I understand stuff, yeah. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was useful for you painting your army, whether or not it's new or old. I just wanted to try something different. Yeah. I hope you guys liked it, and yeah. Catch you soon with catch you soon with an unboxing video. See ya. Actually, hold up. Not gonna go yet. Next week, next video, we'll be unboxing these lovely dudes. Yeah, I just love this kit. I've already got some over here. Beautiful. These models. I love my cats because all the spikes and stuff. Anyway, yeah. Next week we'll be unboxing this. And yeah. See you guys next time.